A sunny trap. The day Trump challenged the wrong man. It was a bright May morning in 2025 at Mar-a-Lago when Donald Trump made the decision that would alter the course of his post-presidency forever. Confident in his power, charisma, and ability to intimidate world leaders, Trump picked up the phone and called Ibrahim Traoré, the 35-year-old president of Burkina Faso. "Ibrahim, my young friend," Trump said with his usual bravado, "how about we give the world a show, a televised debate? Let them see how a real president handles international issues." Ibrahim paused, calm, analytical. He had long learned to be cautious around American politicians, and none more than Trump. "What topics did you have in mind, Mr. President?" "Oh, you know, Africa, trade, development, things you Africans need to learn from us," Trump said, casually dismissive. "It'll be educational for your people." Ibrahim's smile was tight but controlled. "Interesting proposal, Mr. Trump. I accept, but I suggest an open format. No scripts, no restrictions. Let the conversation flow naturally." Trump laughed. "Perfect. The more spontaneous, the better. I'll show the world how real leadership looks." After hanging up, he turned to his aides, grinning. "I'm going to humiliate that African kid on global television." Meanwhile, in Ouagadougou in his presidential palace, President Traoré convened an emergency meeting. "Trump has given us an opportunity," he told Dr. Alonso Ouedraogo, his top advisor. "He completely underestimates us." "What kind of opportunity, sir?" Dr. Ouedraogo asked. "For 3 years, we've compiled intelligence on the Trump Organization's covert operations across Africa. Corruption, laundering, illicit mining. We've never used it, until now." His voice was calm, but his eyes burned cold. "If he wants a no-holds-barred debate, we'll give him one." In a secure intelligence room, Major Umaru Sawadogo laid out the evidence. "Mr. President, we've traced $340 million in illicit transactions between the Trump Organization and corrupt regimes from 2018 to 2022. Diamonds, coltan, bribes and payments to militias, and the casualties." Ibrahim asked quietly. "Over 2,300 civilians dead in conflicts funded by Trump's deals in Mali, Chad, and Congo," Dr. Ouedraogo added. "We have audio, wire transfers, contracts, all verified by independent agencies." Ibrahim closed the folder with a finality that signaled what was to come. May 25, 2025, the World Watchers CNN had organized the debate, broadcast live in 89 countries. Anderson Cooper moderated from Atlanta. In the sleek CNN studio, Trump adjusted his red tie, confident as ever. Halfway across the world, in a modest but dignified office, Ibrahim sat composed, the damning folder beside him. "Good evening," Cooper began. "Tonight, a historic debate between President Donald Trump and President Ibrahim Traoré. The topic, global leadership and African development." The split screen showed Trump nodding proudly, and Ibrahim.com and still. "President Trump," Cooper began, "you called for this debate. What is your vision for Africa?" Trump leaned forward. "Africa needs to learn how real business works. The US built the greatest economy in the world. Africa could use our example." "President Traoré, your response?" "I agree that Africa can learn from global experiences," Ibrahim replied smoothly, "including what not to do when it comes to ethics and foreign interference." Trump laughed. "You're young. You don't understand how the world works. Business is about winning." "Interesting," Ibrahim replied, "especially from a man whose definition of winning includes illegal mining and funding militias." Trump's smile vanished. "What are you talking about?" he asked sharply. Ibrahim tapped the folder beside him. "Would you like to explain Operation African Diamond, Mr. Trump?" The blood drained from Trump's face. The phrase hit like a missile. It was the code name for a top-secret 2021 operation involving his company and militia-controlled mines in Mali, something known only to his closest allies. I don't know what you're talking about." Trump stammered. "Married." Ibrahim calmly held up a document. "This is the memorandum you signed on March 15, 2021, authorizing $23 million in payments to militias for security around your mines." "That's a fake," Trump shouted. "It's been verified by 3 intelligence agencies, including your own FBI," Ibrahim said. Cooper blinked. "President Traoré, are you accusing Donald Trump of funding terrorism?" "I'm not accusing," Ibrahim replied. "I'm presenting documented evidence." He flipped the folder. On screen flashed images of burned villages, mass graves, orphaned children. Operation African Diamond led to the deaths of 2,300 civilians in Mali, all for the Trump organization's profit. Trump stood up. This is a smear campaign. By whom? Ibrahim asked, his voice rising. By the families you've orphaned, the governments you've destabilized. Trump pounded the table. You have no right. I have every right to defend my continent against foreign predators disguised as businessmen, Ibrahim said. I have every right to expose a man who claims to lead while financing death. Trump tried to interrupt again, but Ibrahim was relentless. Would you prefer I move on to Operation Congo Red? He asked, flipping the next page. No, Trump snapped. I refuse to continue this interrogation. But it was too late. The world had heard enough. Aftermath. The broadcast sent shockwaves around the globe. Overnight, #African Diamond trended in over 50 countries. Congressional hearings began within a week. Investigations followed. Traoré was hailed as a global statesman, calm under pressure, relentless with truth. Trump, once poised to rebuild his global image, had walked into a trap of his own making, and Ibrahim Traoré, the young African he had planned to humiliate, walked away as the man who dismantled the global tycoons, facade with facts, dignity, and unshakable courage. The moment Trump unraveled, live on global television, Mr. Trump, Anderson Cooper said with cool control, you agreed to an open format. President Traoré is presenting serious allegations. These demand a response. Ibrahim Traoré remained composed as he reached for a new file marked Operation Congo Red, $67 million. He said evenly, laundered through Trump Organization, shell companies to fund the illegal extraction of coltan, a mineral essential for smartphones and laptops. He didn't pause. This operation displaced 45,000 Congolese families, destroyed 12 villages, and poisoned rivers with mercury. All so your company could control 40% of the region's illegal coltan trade. Trump stiffened. I never authorized your signatures on every document, Ibrahim interrupted, lifting signed contracts. Your voice is on the tapes, approving the transactions. Your bank accounts received the profits. Behind them, the broadcast screen flickered with damning evidence, bank statements, signatures, wire transfers from Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, and Credit Suisse. The amounts were staggering. Cooper looked rattled. President Trump, how do you explain this? Trump's hands trembled. His voice cracked. This is an international conspiracy. Ibrahim let out a cold, mirthless laugh. Mr. Trump, you conspired against yourself. You signed the contracts. You transferred the money. You recorded the calls. We don't need to frame you. You built your own trail. He paused, then delivered the final blow. But the most devastating evidence. He reached for another file. Is this a 47-minute recording of you personally ordering the assassination of a community leader in Chad who opposed your mining operation? That's a lie, Trump shouted, but his voice was cracking now, collapsing under the weight of his fear. The recording has been authenticated by voice analysts from 3 intelligence agencies. Ibrahim said. As ever, would you like us to play it live? Trump said nothing. The silence was more revealing than any denial. The trap had snapped shut. Sweat beaded on Trump's forehead. His composure shattered. His desperation bled into his voice. You, Africans are trying to blackmail me. Blackmail, Ibrahim repeated softly, would mean asking something in return for silence. I'm not asking for anything. I'm simply exposing the truth. He leaned forward. Why do you think I accepted this debate? I assumed it was typical American arrogance, an attempt to humiliate an African leader. But I realized it was the perfect opportunity to deliver justice. Anderson Cooper's voice was tight with tension. President Trump, these are devastating allegations. Do you wish to respond? I don't owe anyone an answer, Trump erupted, pounding the desk. I'm the President of the United States, and I'm the President of the country your operations tried to destroy, Ibrahim countered, which gives me the moral obligation to expose your crimes. He held up a photo, Trump shaking hands with a notorious African warlord. This meeting took place in 2020. You promised Kon Matsuda $50 million in exchange for militia protection of your mining sites in Chad. Trump stared at the image, pale. How did you get this photo? Kon has been working with us for 3 years, Ibrahim said, voice icy. Every meeting, every bribe, every crime. documented by our intelligence services. Trump pushed back from his desk, attempting to stand. "You can't leave now, Mr. Trump," Ibrahim said, calmly but firmly. "The world is watching. What kind of leader runs when confronted with truth?" Trump sat back down, cornered, defeated, but Ibrahim wasn't done. "There's something else," he said. "A reason you've never been investigated for these crimes in the United States." Trump blinked. "What?" "You used profits from your African operations to buy silence. You paid off American officials." He produced another folder: 2 U.S. senators, 1 federal judge, 3 FBI officials, all bought and paid for. Gasps rippled across the studio. Senator Richard Burton, $12 million through a fake foundation. Judge William Hayes, $8 million in fabricated investments. FBI Deputy Director Michael Ross, $5 million in consulting fees. Anderson Cooper was visibly shaken. "President Traoré, are you alleging systemic corruption in the U.S. government?" "I'm not alleging," Ibrahim said. "I'm proving it." He displayed the bank transfers. The Trump Organization didn't just commit crimes in Africa, it corrupted American institutions to shield itself from justice. Trump's mask cracked completely. Tears welled in his eyes. His body shook. "Please, stop," he whispered. "Please. 2,300 families in Mali can't stop their suffering. 45,000 people in Congo can't undo their displacement. Why should I stop?" Ibrahim's voice burned with righteous fire. He turned to the camera. "The world must understand. Some leaders are not leaders at all. They are predators in suits." The U.S. Congress convened an emergency session. The evidence presented by President Traoré demands immediate investigation and impeachment, declared the Speaker of the House. If the allegations were true, Donald Trump had committed crimes against humanity. Behind the scenes, the FBI launched a formal criminal investigation. Off the record, the director admitted the documents appear authentic. If verified, they will lead to the arrest of multiple federal officials. Across Africa, outrage turned into unity. The African Union voted unanimously to seek Trump's prosecution for war crimes. "Africa stands united in its demand for justice," announced the chairperson. Global financial markets plummeted. U.S. political instability has reached historic levels, reported the Wall Street Journal. Investors are rapidly pulling out of American assets. NATO called an emergency meeting, with members questioning the integrity of American leadership. "How can we trust an ally whose leader is now accused of war crimes?" asked the French President. In a twist of irony, countries Trump had once insulted rushed to defend Ibrahim. "President Traoré has demonstrated extraordinary courage in exposing global injustice," said President Putin. "Russia guarantees his safety. China offers full protection to any leader brave enough to stand against international corruption," stated their foreign minister. The fall of an empire just 1 week after the explosive debate. Trump's downfall was absolute. Impeachment passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. "The evidence is overwhelming," declared the Republican Majority Leader. "We cannot and will not defend crimes against humanity." 12 U.S. officials, named in Traoré's files, including a senator and a federal judge, were arrested by the FBI. Operation Cleanup is based entirely on the material provided by President Traoré, confirmed the Attorney General. The Trump Organization collapsed overnight. Banks canceled loans, business partners severed ties, properties were seized to repay damages. "This is the most significant political and financial collapse in modern American history," Forbes reported. African nations filed multi-trillion-dollar lawsuits for reparations. "Trump owes compensation to every family his operations devastated," said a lawyer for the victims. "Even Trump's own family turned their backs on him. We cannot be linked to a war criminal," said Eric Trump in a statement. Melania Trump filed for divorce, claiming, "I had no knowledge of these atrocities. Ibrahim Traoré showed me who he truly was." Trump attempted to flee the country, but the court confiscated his passport. "He is a serious flight risk," ruled a federal judge, and is facing prosecution in multiple jurisdictions. Ibrahim's rise while Trump unraveled. President Ibrahim Traoré was celebrated worldwide. "President Traoré saved Africa from a predator hiding behind power," said Archbishop Desmond Tutu. "He is a man of rare moral bravery." The Nobel Peace Prize Committee awarded him a special honor for his stand against crimes against humanity. A month after the debate, Trump was indicted on 347 federal charges and approved for extradition to The Hague for war crimes. Ibrahim Traoré turned the predator into prey, declared The Guardian. In a reflective interview, Ibrahim stated, "Predators forget that prey can bite back." 1 year later, exactly a year after his televised takedown of Trump, Ibrahim stood before the United Nations General Assembly in Geneva. He addressed representatives from 193 countries. A year ago, the world learned that the president of the most powerful country on earth was a war criminal, he said. Today, we have proven that justice knows no borders and that no leader is above the law. Applause roared through the assembly. Some African delegates wept openly, witnessing long overdue justice. "The Trump case sets a new global standard," stated the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. "No position, no power, no wealth can protect the guilty forever." The Hague Tribunal expanded its jurisdiction under what is now called the Traoré Principle. In Washington, a newly elected U.S. president pledged to rebuild trust and uphold justice. Ibrahim Traoré didn't just save Africa. The new president said he saved American democracy from total collapse. The African Union declared a new era of equality and mutual respect. "Africa is not the West's playground," said the president. "We are equal partners, and we demand to be treated that way." Traoré founded the Traoré Institute for International Justice, focused on training ethical leaders for a new world. "Never again," he said at the inauguration, "will the powerful escape accountability for crimes against the innocent." The final word in a final interview, Ibrahim reflected, Trump believed Africa was weak, that young leaders were naive. He learned the hard way that justice has no age, and truth is the most powerful weapon. "His arrogance gave me a platform. My people gave me purpose. Justice delayed is not justice denied, because when someone dares to stand up, the world listens." And so, the young African leader Trump once tried to humiliate, changed the course of history forever. But justice is coming, and Africa is not a playground. Trump sat in broken silence, the most powerful man on earth reduced to a trembling shell. "Thank you, Mr. Trump," Ibrahim concluded. "You gave me the stage, and I used it to educate the world.